So in December, me and the principal from Cloverport, Roger Keith Haynes, we got into an argument. I was passing out surveys to see how much democracy was in the schools, which is zero, because teachers believe in 100% compliance. Shut your mouth, sit down, do what I tell you. That's what the teachers believe. And so I asked on a scale of 0 to 10, it was going to be surveys, about 40 to 50 surveys given out to the students. And I had asked the question from 0 to 10 how much democracy there is. Well, the Secretary of Education of Kentucky has already said that there is no democratic schools except for one, which is a private school in Louisville. So all 120 schools believes in the 100% compliance principle. Now, some of the dictators could be benevolent. That is very true. For a long time, I could not express the feelings that I had felt until I actually came across Paulo Freire. And so I'm going to read a quote from Paulo Freire right now. And his thing is the oppressors versus the oppressed. So he's sitting there saying, if humanization of the oppressed signifies subversion, when we become human, so also does our freedom, the oppressed. Hence, the necessity for constant control. And the more the oppressors control the oppressed, the more they change them into apparent inanimate things. This tendency of the oppressor consciousness to inanimate everything and everyone it encounters in its eagerness to possess unquestionably corresponds with a tendency to sadism. And sadistic love is a perverted love, a love of death, not of life. One of the characteristics of the oppressor consciousness and its necrophilic view of the world is thus sadism. As the oppressor consciousness, in order to dominate, tries to deter the drive to search, the restlessness, and the creative power which characterizes life, it kills life. More and more, the oppressors are using science and technology as unquestionably powerful instruments for their purpose, the maintenance of the oppressive order through manipulation and repression. The oppressed as objects are things, have no purposes, except those their oppressors prescribe for them. So, you hire a janitor just to clean the halls. I don't want to know your opinion about the economy or what you think about politics. Shut your mouth, sweep my halls. And so that's the oppressors. That's oppressor molesters. When you have a total domination over on somebody and knowing that sadism is a perverted love, to think that a violent perverted love could turn into some weird sexual deviant perverted love isn't that difficult to imagine. So, Roger Keith Haynes is an oppressor molester. Not only was I testing to see if there's any democracy in the schools, but I also had a questionnaire, 5 different ones, 10-point questions, and they all were lifted from the immigration test. And the immigration test, they had told us, the immigrants, anybody that comes into the immigration, you go to the website, there's probably about 100 to 200 immigration questions, but they only give them 10 questions. But you got to study all of them in order to actually know them, right? So they have to get 6 of the 10 questions right in order to become a U.S. citizen. I bet that if you were to give that same test to Kentucky students, that they would fail. There is no civics in Kentucky. Even though there's all these local county positions, civics has been wholly ignored. And so that's the reason that Roger Keith Haynes changed his mind. So I think it was like on a Tuesday I went and he said he could have the surveys finished for me on the Wednesday. So he was nice as pie on Tuesday. On Wednesday he turned into Dr. Jekyll. And I think that's the word, or Hyde, or Jekyll. Jekyll sounds more sinister. So when I go back into it, you know, he's sitting there, comes out in the office, looks at me, sees me. There's also another, like, redheaded guy. He's probably the social studies teacher. He came out, saw me, and I'm like, hi, you know, just being a nice guy, you know, thinking that niceness will win out the day. People don't respect niceness. They see niceness as weakness. And so he came, he saw me, Roger Keith Haynes, and then he burrowed back into his hole. And then he came out. I'm sitting down on the chair. He's standing up, and he hands me the folder and says, I'm sorry I couldn't get the surveys done. Sorry. And I said, well, what happened? He said, well, I asked the teachers, and they didn't want to do it. I couldn't find any takers. And I was going to, I wasn't just going to get up and go, oh, you said you was going to do something. I drove all the way here, but you didn't give a shit. And for some reason, he changed his mind. He changed his mind for some reason. And what he said to the newspapers and what he said to the lawyers, he's already lying. He lied that he would get the surveys done. He lied when he said that he asked the teachers. And then he lied to the newspaper. So he is, if a man isn't a man of his own word, what good is he? So I didn't understand what he was actually saying. It didn't make any sense to me. It did not make any sense to me. Because, I wasn't just going to leave, but I wasn't going to harass him until I get what I wanted. I was going to get 3 no's, just like I did on the Nader campaign. After 3 no's, I feel like you're harassing. No, I don't want to sign. No, I don't want to sign. Okay, thank you, sir. Have a good day. And so, will you do the surveys? Yes, I'll do the surveys. All right, cool. Where's the surveys? Oh, I didn't do them. Why not? Well, the teacher said that they didn't want to do them. And then I asked him, well, you're the principal. I was confused. It made no sense. He's lying to my face. And so I asked him, why? How could the teachers tell him no? How could the teachers tell you no? You're the principal. And when I told him that, because I called him out on it, it wasn't like I was trying to confront him. I was just going to, will you do the surveys? No. Will you do the surveys? No. Will you do the surveys? No. And, end of story. But that wasn't how he wanted to do it. Basically, hey, I didn't do what I told you I was going to do. Now get the fuck off my property before I fucking, do some damage to you. And that's exactly how he acted. So when I asked him, if how he wasn't able to get the teachers to do it, he was like, you're being rude right now. And if you don't leave, there's going to be some trouble. There's no other way to interpret that. That's menacing. That's a threat. And he's yelling. And, as I just don't like anybody yelling at me for any reason. Why are you yelling at me? Why are you acting like a total jerk? I just asked you a question. Now you're acting like a total prick. An insecure prick. And like a molester oppressor. How dare you question my authority? I told you that I didn't do the damn surveys. Now get the fuck out. Why didn't he do the surveys? Because they don't teach civics, so all the students would have failed, and so I guess he thought maybe that would be embarrassing, or maybe the social studies teacher says, no, my students will fail, I don't want to look bad. It had nothing to do with making a school look bad. It was just to use it as a sample for the rest of Kentucky, which I'm pretty sure, I already know, they don't know civics. 87% of Kentuckians do not vote. And if you're not voting, you're not going to be run for an assessor. You're not going to run for a surveyor. You're not going to, be part of the election commission and be a captain of one of the poll precincts. You're not going to do any of these things. You're not going to pay attention to the politics. You're not going to talk and engage with what the people are saying and who would have the best policies. Those conversations, which should be water cooler talk, it should be normal and natural and should happen all the time. They do not teach democracy there, so therefore we don't actually have people that understand democracy. We're in this together, and we try to do what is in the greatest good for the greatest number of people without infringing upon minority rights or the individual's rights. That's how democracy works. So the school, because they believe in 100% compliance, they're not empowering the students, they're not trying to get them to get power. The best indication if the school does well has nothing to do with education or poverty. It has to do with how much, well, I guess it has something to do with poverty. It has to do with the social standing of the parents. If the parents are doing well, the children are doing well. That's the best indication to determine who is successful and who is not. So, and I already kind of knew all this stuff. I already knew all this stuff. They're not empowering the students. It's not a discovery-based model. It's shut up, sit down, I'm the boss, you listen to what the hell I tell you. And so, Cloverport Schools is not teaching civics. You're not going to find a future mayor or a future judge executive, coming, maybe 1 out of 1,000,000 or something, but the vast majority of them are not going to pursue those things, especially if they don't have parents that are actually talking to them to do it. That's the reason. That's the reason. Principals, superintendents, they're hired by the school board. That's political. And then you have judges and you have, prosecutors. It's all political. Of course they don't want the students to know about how to, rise up and elevate themselves with political positions because it might take their jobs. The best way to open up jobs and give opportunities for the youth, fire everybody. Get the youth up in there. We need some, new ideas, new blood. We need young blood into the political process if we actually want to see better ideas and a better representation. And so, because there is no democracy, because they suck at teaching civics, Roger Keith Haynes lied to my face. Oh, I asked the teachers. They couldn't do it. You're the fucking principal. You're a fucking prick. Clearly, you're an oppressor molester. You believe in the 100% compliance principle. Most teachers do, since they went through the teacher training school. It's all about classroom management. Get them into routines. Don't tolerate the slightest bit of objection. If they raise their hand halfway, don't even call them. Don't even acknowledge them. And just have them eating out of the palm of your hands. So you have, Roger Keith Haynes who yells at me, and it was bullshit. It was bullshit. It was confusing. It made no sense. He's yelling. He's carrying on like a fool. It's menacing. So I get up. I'm a little upset, but I keep it cool. And I get up and I say, well, you could go ahead and just keep the chocolates. I bought y'all the office some chocolates, so go ahead and enjoy the chocolates. And then he was just, I don't care, whatever. Fuck you, that don't bother me. I'm the fucking boss, and now I'm getting you to fucking move. And so he made a face like, who gives a shit? All right, whatever. So as I'm walking to the door, and, I'm leaving. I'm doing what he wants. I'm complying with his... it's a threat, but it's conditional. Do this, or there will be trouble. Get out, or there will be trouble. There's only one way to interpret that. I'm going to put my fucking hands on you, or I'm going to get the cops, and they're going to beat the shit out of you. You get out of my fucking school. Why are you acting so stupid? Why are you acting so crazy? Why are you threatening me for no fucking reason? So I didn't say that. I'm saying that now. But what I had said, okay, first, hey, I bought the whole, I bought them like little Snickers, right? Little tiny individual Snickers. The secretary was nice as pie to me. The librarians seemed to be pretty decent at the time, but, they walked in and started talking stupid, or looking at me stupid. So, the other thing that I said, okay, I only said 3 things. I said, you're the principal. Oh, you're being rude. Why don't you enjoy my chocolates? Oh, whatever. I don't care. Just get on out. Get on out, you little bitch-ass piece of shit. Yeah, fuck you, man. And, and then it insults my dignity, right? It insults my dignity. He's being a jerk for no reason. Okay. So, I get up. I said, hey, you can enjoy the chocolates if you want to. And he shrugged his shoulders. And then as I'm about to exit the door, I met his challenge. You want to threaten me? You want to put your hands on me? You want to get the cops to put your hands on me? You want to fuck over my life? Or you want to be a total prick to me for no fucking reason whatsoever? No apparent reason. None that you said. None that made any damn sense. And so, so when I was about ready to open the door, I turned around and I said, well, if you really want to, we could just take a step outside. Then he wasn't so cocky. Then he wasn't so, ooh, I'm the man, you better do as I tell you. He looked at me all stupid and dumb like, I can't believe that happened. And I was like, yeah, you better believe that happened. That just happened. And, he could have done the same thing, right? You need to leave, there's going to be trouble. Yeah, that just happened, right? So, essentially I complied with his demand. Even if it was like, if no one's allowed to trespass on my land, this is that's a public school, public taxpayer dollars, whatever. I give him jurisdiction on that spot. This is my land. You come up on my driveway, you turn around or something, or you want to sell me something, and I said no, and I said, hey, you need to get out or there's going to be trouble. And they said, all right, I'll leave. You want to step outside to the street? And then I would have to make the decision. Yeah, I do. Fuck it, let's go. Or, not really. Okay, I didn't really want to either. So that's what I did. I met his challenge. I went to go to open the door. And when I went to go open the door, I turned around and said, hey, would you like to take a step outside? And after I asked him that, he looked dumb and stupid. Surprise, oh my God. Oh my God, he actually said something back to me. Right? The oppressor molesters, they don't understand that it's the weakness of the oppressed that can only liberate them both, because it humanizes both of them. You're going to treat me like a fucking dumb fuck. I was nice, I was smiling, I didn't do anything wrong. I did nothing wrong. The only thing that was done wrong was him saying he was going to do something, didn't do it, lied to me about it to my face. And I have a strong moral core. I have a strong moral core. So, okay, after I said, would you like to go outside? Would you like to go outside? Would you like to take us outside? Would you like to step outside? Right? And he looked dumb and stupid, like the little pansy, pussified, cowardly bitch that he is. I mean, he's a short little bald fucker, right? And that always appeals for some reason, cops, the people that apply for cops, short, bald men, you know, they were bullied and picked on when they were younger. Now they got the power. Now they could fucking fuck over people. Now, you know, Mother Nature didn't give them a good hand in life to make them strong. You can be strong, powerful men, but I mean, he overcompensates and he's insecure. So after he looked dumb and stupid, after I invited him out to the streets, then I said, yeah, that's right, because I would have kicked your fucking ass. And that's it. And then I walked out. As I'm walking out, he's just standing, you know, look at the window like a molester or oppressor, like a rapist, like somebody that wants to do me harm. He meant to do me harm at the initial thing, and he continues to press the charges. He eventually calls the cops after this. But I'm walking down the sidewalk, and I get into my truck, and I back it up. He's still staring. And it was uncomfortable, but, you know, look, Roger Keith Haynes, you're a bitch. You're a fucking coward. You're a little turd, okay? And I called your ass out. I left your fucking school, but when I went out to the streets, you were nowhere around. So you big tough guy in your own fucking house, let's take it out to the streets. Streets are everybody's. You can't claim the streets. Hey, get out of the street. I gotta get to my truck to leave somehow. When I got my truck to leave, I give him a little bitty wave, and that probably pissed him off the most. He writes in a complaint, and it's filing a false complaint. He's menacing, terroristic, threatening, and he also calls my school, and the school that I had been attended, he fucked that up, you know, completely fucked that up. So that's $10,000 to $20,000 that he just totally fucked up, and now, and I left, okay? So I left. And he knew that I wasn't going to come back, that I wasn't going to harm him. There was no threat issued, but he filed abuse of a teacher. He filed charges against me saying abuse of a teacher. No evidence, no video camera, just his fucking word. Well, if only his word is, you know, his bond, well, then, you know, he's a known liar. But my word should also work the exact same way. Well, I don't have evidence that he threatened me. He did. He menacing, threatening, filing a false report, abuse of a teacher. Come on, and then after that, he files abuse of a teacher, and I've been to court about 3 or 4 times. I've already got kicked out of school, so I think I've got kicked out of school. They wanted me to go there and do a due process hearing. Oh, okay, drive 4 fucking hours just so you could do the same stupid shit that Keith Haynes did. No, why don't you come into my house? You come to my house and I'll start yelling at you. Now, you're being rude. Get out or there's going to be trouble. You're being rude. Get out or there's going to be some trouble. Do you feel safe? Do you feel like that was a nice little meeting? That's how respectful people are supposed to treat each other and talk to each other? You know, so he files charges, abuse of a teacher. Abuse. I thought he was going to file like terroristic, threatening, harassment, communications. None of those. He files abuse of a teacher. Now, in 1986, they actually changed the law because it was too vague. You weren't even allowed to insult a teacher. If you insulted the teacher, then you could be held liable. Well, that's such bullshit. I mean, look at the Nogler family. The Nogler family gets their kids taken away from them because they're not putting their kids in the school. And if they did put their kids in the school and they didn't like how the teachers or the principals was teaching them and said, hey, stop teaching, you know, stop treating my kids the way, you know, stop oppressing my kids. I teach my kids to be liberated and to stand up and speak up, not shut up and sit down. And so if you were to say, hey, you know, you're not a good teacher and, you know, damn you. Oh, damn me, huh? Well, I just got some abuse of a teacher. Well, they changed the law to read it differently, but the explanation was, how can you know you know, you need to have a reasonable expectation of what the law is in order to comply with it. I didn't know about that. I didn't know you can't even insult the fucking teacher. You know, they're getting paid $50-something thousand. You can't even insult them. Yeah, teacher, you are an oppressor. You're an asshole. Well, fuck you. Maybe fuck you might be a little too much. Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, if they're being an asshole, which 100% compliance, they want to manipulate you and force, you know, the humanity out of you. Oppressors versus the oppressed. It's a sadistic love. It's a love of death. It's a necrophilic love. Then you know, that's a problem. That's a problem for me. So they changed the law because you have to have an understanding of, you know, the laws to be able to listen to it. And who would have known that abuse of a teacher, including, you know, being insulted, which even includes if they came to your house. They come to your house around the dinner table and you said, hey, you know, you're a low-life piece of shit, get out of my house. And then that's still abuse of a teacher. So they changed it a little bit differently. Now what they have to prove is that it was a disruption to the school's processes and activities. Abuse of a teacher. It was a disruption to the school and to the processes. So there was nobody around. I heard a counselor in one of the back rooms. They all heard the whole thing. She's going to embellish. She's going to lie. That's her boss. What's she going to, you know, speak up against her boss? Oh, give me a break. So, but I saw nobody in the actual lobby, so she would have been in the back, one of the back offices, and she would have just heard the few exchanges. Get out, there's going to be rude. You want to take a step outside? That's right, I would have kicked your fucking ass. Peace. That's it. That's all that happened. That's all that took place. For a 30-second argument, now I'm being the prosecutor, the judge already fucking, you know, talked stupid to me. The jailers, the fucking bailiffs, the people, the court security officers, they're fucking talking stupid. Fuck that, man. Fuck that shit. Just because somebody throws a fucking charge on you does not mean that you're fucking guilty. And I'm so sick and tired of other motherfuckers putting charges on me, but when I go to stand up and put charges on other people, I don't get heard. I don't get listened to. That's horse shit. That is such horse shit. And so that's this whole thing is about the duels. So I think I'm gonna get to the duels, but what it makes me think with the duels is I demand satisfaction. Okay, not only did you threaten me, not only did you want to put your hands on me and then get the cops to put their hands on me, you're trying to fuck up my life now. Now you're trying to fuck over my life. You're trying to get me kicked out of school, which it seems like I might have already done, and now you're trying to make sure he wouldn't agree to, you know, letting the charges go. He's gone back 3 days. So disrupting the school, he's left the school 3 days because he is a psycho and he wants to injure me. A psycho who wants to injure me. That's who's in charge of Cloverport. That's who you're entrusting your kids with. The guy's a lowlife, okay? He's an absolute despicable human being. And so he's, you know, he's left the school 3 times to press charges. The last option that they had presented me was 10 days in jail for disorderly conduct. He's not a fucking cop. And disorderly conduct, that's like the dumbest fucking charge, you know, in the world. It's like, resisting arrest, disorderly conduct. Get the fuck out of here. 10 days in jail for disorderly, or no days in jail, fines, $400 in fines, in addition to, let's see, as long as they underline abuse of a teacher. So even though 3 years in fucking school and actually want to educate and liberate, education should be for liberation, not for oppression. And because I actually seek to liberate, because I actually seek to, you know, teach the way I would want to be taught. Not shut up, sit down, do whatever you're told, being lectured at, you're not learning anything, you forget everything the next day. Because I want to actually give, you know, the students of Kentucky a true blue education. That's the reason why he's acting like a psycho. That's the reason why he's gone to court 3 times. And so now I am faced with a maximum of a year in jail and, you know, a $500 fine plus the court costs, which they just tack on $200 fucking dollars, and they tack on fines here and there, and then the jails usually charge some fucking money. You get a bill in the mail. So at the end of all this, it'll be $2,000 fucking dollars. I have a fucking criminal charge on my record, and it'll be abuse of a teacher. So I basically just say, fuck it, I can't teach no more. That's bullshit, because actually you want to give a real fucking education, and I get fucked over. Fuck him. Fuck him. He's against true blue education. He seeks to oppress. He's an oppressor molester. He wants 100% compliance and domination over them to destroy their humanities, not to let them to breathe free. No democracy, not to get along. They make no decisions. Shut your mouth. You don't mean anything. And so that's total bullshit. That's total bullshit. He has injured me several times. You know, first there was the incident of actually yelling. Then there was filing the charges. There was calling my school. And then there was going back to the court 3 times to keep on pressing the charges so he can get the charge on me. So I either go to jail or I get the abuse of a teacher. And I didn't abuse him. I didn't abuse him at all. Abuse is violence, okay? I grew up in a childhood. I had a violent household that I grew up in. That's abuse. You know, that's assault. That actually, you know, getting smacked is assault. It's also interesting, too, just to throw this out there, that whenever, as a good kid in school, I'm getting my ass kicked at the house, and then I go to school doing everything anybody tells me, but whenever one of the bullies would start picking on me, if you fought back, both y'all would get suspended. And I talked to the principal here at Breckenridge High School, and he had said that both people always get punished, both of them, because one of them was jawing. So, jawing, meaning talking. And so if someone was talking and they insulted someone else and the other person hit them, both of them get it punished. Both of them get punished. And yet the adults, if 2 adults, not even a fight, just an argument, if we get into an argument, one of them gets punished and the other one gets totally, you know, gets off scot-free. One totally gets screwed over his whole life. And then the other one gets keep on being paid, you know, fucking $50-something thousand. That's ridiculous, and it's absolute bullshit, and it's not fair, and it's not right, and this thing's been hanging over my head. You know, the charges were filed in December. I didn't even know about the warrant until, you know, February or March, and then I've had to go to court, you know, 2 or 3 times. So it's absolute bullshit. It's total fucking bullshit. I mean, I want satisfaction. The end goal is, it seems like in order to get court and people to listen to you, you have to press on them and press on them and press on them. And so even though I haven't been doing that and I haven't, you know, questioned power for a long time, I think that's what I need to actually get into. I need to start doing that. Because after this so-called trial, let's assume they throw the charge out. Well, I'm gonna throw criminal charges on him, and I'm gonna sue the fuck out of him. I'm gonna sue the fuck out of him, and I'm gonna throw charges on him. He's gonna admit that he yelled, or maybe he won't. Maybe he won't. You know, they say cussing. Oh, he's cussing. I said fucking ass. Okay, I said 2 cuss words. But that's like, oh, he's yelling and cussing and just creating a commotion and trouble. Shut the fuck up. You're adding so much more shit to it than what it actually happened. And fuck him. Fuck that piece of shit. Fuck that low-life motherfucker. Just because I wanted to teach some Kentucky kids some democracy and civics and maybe some history and geography and, you know, social studies, my whole life gets fucked over because I ran into a piece of shit. A fucking short little, you know, knob. A little bald-ass fucking poltroon. Because I ran into a poltroon, a coward. A coward. Roger Keith Haynes is a coward. Because I ran into a coward. You're going to ruin my whole life? You're going to ruin my whole fucking life? No, so I'll file criminal charges and I will sue him. I will sue him in civil court for, you know, ruining my school and, you know, wasting all that money. So, and I think I would be justified in doing so. He had no rhyme or reason to begin yelling and carrying on like a fool, and to keep on carrying it out. It just shows how insecure he is. And like I said, he's a fucking coward. He couldn't meet me out on the streets. Yeah, big tough guy, right? Sitting there fucking insulting me and shit. But he couldn't come out to the streets. But he can call. No, cops, somebody please help me. Please help me. Do you have any evidence? No, but I know the judge and I know you, cop. Can't you just believe me? Alright, fine, fuck it. We'll fuck it, whoever this guy is. We'll fuck his life over. Without any evidence. And that's, God, you know, I mean, it's so incredible. If, I mean, I just, again, like the hypocrisy, when I get charged with something, oh, I'm totally going to get fucked. But when they, you know, when somebody does something to me, I just think about, I got robbed by Curtis Stewart. Curtis Stewart, I think Jr., comes into my house. broke my door, took my laptop, took my TV, took like $500 to $1,000 worth of stuff. And the cops came to my house. I told them what happened, who I suspected of it. He even looked him up, saw his name in the system. They questioned him, and then they let him go. So if you want to compare, just that one situation, I got other ones that I would love to compare and contrast. But just compare that one situation. If I would have broke into Keith Haynes' house and took all of his shit and then left, alright, maybe you got something on me. But when that happened to me, no charges. They even met the guy. They even talked to the guy. No charges were filed. No arrests were made. And you want to compare, those are the biggest crimes out there. Not only was it stealing, but it was a house invasion, breaking and entering, coming into my house. So I didn't break and enter. I didn't steal. The four biggest crimes out there: murder, rape, stealing, and violence. None of those things happened. But if you want to look at, let's go deeper into my principles. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. It's the golden rule: do unto others, you have them do unto yourself. And it's eye for an eye, justice. Basically you treat others the way you want to be treated. And so I believe in I can't stand ignorance, lying, superstition, hypocrisy, and tyranny. He's a tyrant. He's a hypocrite. He's a liar. He's ignorant of the stuff that I was going to educate and teach. He didn't know jack shit about the stuff. And so really all five of those things. He's a bad fucking human being. He's a bad human being. He's a piece of shit. I don't think he has a shred of morality. He doesn't understand morals whatsoever. And so because of this, I've already written down what had happened, and I've got a lawyer, and June 26th is supposed to be a court date. We filed a motion saying that the abuse of a teacher statute is unconstitutional, like abuse of a teacher. How would I have known that if I said, oh, okay, you're threatening me, and that's all I did. He threatened me, but it was a conditional threat, and I met the condition, right? If you leave, there will be trouble. Okay, I'm leaving. Did you still want that trouble? You still a big tough guy, huh? So, in a way, I demand satisfaction. And so that's what the duels were all about. When you read about the duels, Henry Clay, Abraham Lincoln, there's duels all the time in Kentucky, and they actually made it illegal, and you have to have an oath of office saying that you've never challenged or been a part of a duel. And so it wasn't a duel. It was a challenge to a fight. And that's how boxing matches happen, right? How does any of the boxers get into a ring if you don't say, hey, let's fight? And he's the one that started it. He fucking started it. So, and he's standing over me. He's standing. He's looming. He's yelling. Get the fuck out of here, man. If I did the same shit to him, started the damn thing, but I didn't. And he's a So anyways, I feel 100% okay with it. I don't feel that I did anything wrong, that I broke any laws. And so that would be, with the duels, I wrote all the duels, some of the dumbest things. Basically, people, there's some real significant stuff, but sometimes it would just be name calling. There was one duel that was fought over classical languages. I know classical languages better than you do. I know Latin and Greek better than you do. Oh, the hell if you do. I do. Oh, you're a damn liar. Shut your mouth. And then they get into a fight after that, and then there's a challenge of a duel, and then they, pull out pistols and they shoot. So I think we should actually look at how schools sort of deal with these things, because they notice that in the classroom, unless one of the kids are just troublemaker with a bunch of poor, parents that could not make a ruckus, essentially you got to keep both of the kids in the class. Maybe separate them, put them in different classes, but they still get an education. They get to still be part of society. You split them up. Both of them get in trouble if they're both involved in the fighting, even if one was just mouthing, even if one was just talking shit and just insulting the other. And then you go on with your life. Maybe a 3-day suspension for both of them, but eventually they come back. And so, it would be insane. It would be nuts. It would be insane shocked to see two people, and not even getting into a fight, just an argument. You're a liar. No, you're a liar. You shut your mouth. Oh, you want to take us outside? And bullies do that. I'm going to meet you outside at the playground. I'm going to meet you outside at the playground. And there is no future threat. There is no future date. There is nothing. When I left, I had no intention of going back, and he knew that. He knew that. And so he is just being a fucking asshole, and he's pressing charges. And so I have to meet the oppression. Good people will perish in a world of evil. And what the good people need is power. Good people need power. Because they got to stop, fucking lowlifes like Roger Keith Haynes. And so, my life has been on hold for this, and for some other reasons. And it's bullshit. It's not fair. It's not right. And so I got to be confident that I'm going to beat this case, because I am going to beat the case. And when I beat the case, there's going to be a lawsuit, and there's going to be criminal charges that's filed on him. He filed a false complaint that had lies in it. He's a liar. Talk to the media. That's slander and libel. And kicking me out of school. The fact that they took his word over mine, that's insanity. It just shows me teacher training school's all about making the students, at the school, I'm the customer. He's not a customer. He ain't paying no fucking money. And yet, they fuck the customer over. How many times can schools fuck the customers over, for some fucking fascist, tyrannical, short, bald, poltroon, cowardly, low-life piece of shit. So, if duels can be fought over Latin and Greek, I think if you just let people just keep on, pounding at each other, you want to put me in jail? Put me in jail for the maximum time. Give me the maximum punishment. I'm in jail for a year. You think that's going to work? You think that's the best way to handle this? No fucking way, man. There's no fucking way. So, I do want satisfaction, and so I should file a lawsuit. Probably soon, actually. Not even wait for the thing, so that way, oh yeah, there is a lawsuit out there. So, yeah. This isn't a duel. This wasn't a fight to the death or with guns. He had challenged me with violence, because that's what fascist, tyrannical pieces of shit do, insecure pieces of shit. And then when I went out to the street, he was nowhere to be found. So it would have if there would have been a fist fight, if he would have met my challenge, or if I didn't do what he told me to do, you need to leave or there'll be shut. No, I'm not leaving. I'm not going to leave. Okay, well now I get to put my hands on you, or I get to call the police. Ha ha. Ha ha. Now I got the police to beat you up. And for what? Because I had a couple of fucking surveys that you didn't want to administer? You didn't want to administer a couple fucking surveys. You didn't want the children to say, we have no democracy. You didn't even want the children to be aware of democracy. Nah, don't let them know what democracy. Keep democracy down. Keep it quiet. Freedom. Oh, we don't want that word around here. Not in Cloverport. No, none of the students get freedom here. Shut up. Do what I tell you. And I think that's a horrible teaching tactic. I think that's oppression, and people don't learn from that except for sheer obedience. And the worst crimes throughout history is genocide, war, slavery. It all happened because of blind obedience to authority. That's what public schools are teaching. That's what needs to be destroyed. And the last thing I want to mention is just sort of the Nogler family. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you say fuck the schools, I'm gonna teach my kids because I love my kids and I know best for them. Really, the students and the parents have no power, and so that would be what I would advocate in general, for the students and the parents to have more power. I don't think private charter schools is the idea. I think vouchers give parents and students more power. So parents and students need more power. But you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If no fucking way. If I lived in Cloverport, had some kids, no fucking way I'd send my kids to that low-life piece of shit. Fuck you. I wouldn't even want to send a fucking report to that piece of shit. Who the fuck is he? That cocksucking piece of shit threatened me, menaced me, threw a bunch of fucking charges on me, trying to fucking ruin me. Fuck him. He stole money. He's a tyrant. Fuck him. Why do I have to answer to that piece of shit? I should not have to answer to him. And so, Is it our children or is it the state's children? So I'm saying it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you do send your kids there and then all of a sudden you don't like what they're teaching and how they're behaving, then you insult the teacher, then that's abuse and they'll file charges on you. Fuck you. That's a no-win situation. Some of the most brilliant minds are people that rejected school. Bill Gates, Frederick Douglass, Steve Jobs, Abraham Lincoln was self-educated. So the geniuses of the world. And there was actually one guy that I came across that said that anybody who actually does anything different and advances mankind is someone who thinks, not conventionally. So no, I don't believe in the oppression. I don't think it actually has an education. I could work with these fucking Nazis. In my classroom, I would, teach the way I wanted to teach. But in, I don't like how they behave. I don't like how they operate. And that's normal. That's normal to, yell at the students and treat them like crap. And that's supposed to be education. Oh, be thankful it's free education. Get the fuck... In Trimble County, they dump that student's lunch right in their face. The shit that people have to go through. You want to know why there's bullies in school? Because the teachers and the principals are bullies. They don't see the bullies. They see the bullies probably as themselves. Anyways. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. So, he threatened me. So he should have charges against him. Teachers should not be above, a parent. A parent is above a teacher. And until we can understand that as a society, I just don't see... Kentucky, 87% don't vote. I don't see us advancing. And I don't see any of the poor, families who send their poor kids to school actually doing any better either. Anyways, we'll talk about duels coming up.